All right, I think that means we're going.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Kramer.
And I'm Zach Conley.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
We're gonna get ready. We
This
will.
video is completely normal, and I hope that you can find value in it. So maybe, how
Yeah.
about we go over what we've done?
Yeah. So basically, it all started back at
Yes.
the end of is it sophomore year? Yeah, end of sophomore year. We met together. We started talking about crypto and things like that. Um, for reference, we're both juniors now, um, about halfway through junior year. But we just both met, started talking about crypto and things like that. And yeah, basically, we just started bouncing ideas
Stocks
off
and
each other.
bonds and making
Yeah.
money, and then we began discussing how our interests were quite aligned. Then we eventually got philosophical and understood our trajectories were effectively identical. And so now that there's two of us, we'll move with twice the speed, and there's a certain particular individual that is not currently allowed on most platforms who shall remain nameless, who has a brother who has inspired us greatly and taught us much.
Yeah.
So,
So basically, the first project we started was called Modern Dough, and Modern Dough was designed to be a email newsletter advising young kids on financial advice and things like that. And as we were beginning to dive into this project, we created a whole website. We had like everything all was all designed out and everything. And we got to the point where we had to start actually making content for our subscribers. And that's when we came to the realization that
what do we know?
we don't know anything.
So,
So,
we pivoted, we moved
right,
forward. I think from there, we pivoted into YouTube,
right.
which of course we're now back at, which is funny how we did a whole circle.
You're right.
But we were going to become experts on YouTube, grow our channels, then become consultants, help people, show people how to grow their channel, and they pay us in return. And then we pivoted to what was next after
Let's
we
see. So we came up with the YouTube idea while at a camp in
Montrose,
Montrose. Yeah,
Colorado.
camp in Montrose that we both went to. That's kind of on a whim.
Mhm.
Then after we created the YouTube idea, we both kind of ended up going into different routes. I actually had a job at the Air Force Academy
In Colorado.
in Colorado, and I was building and designing satellites and things like that. So that was really interesting. And I've always wanted to be an aerospace engineer since I was like, like 10, 11, 12. And then once I got into the profession, I realized that it's really just a lot of paperwork, like most jobs. You're not spending a whole lot of time doing the interesting stuff of creating things and learning and all that. Most of the time, it's just trying to like paperwork and get stuff applied. And everything is just corporate, right? Corporate life is absolutely awful. I was working in, a 9 to 5, had like virtually no time for myself. And and this was my dream job. It was something that I always wanted to do. So Carrie and I both agreed that we needed to find a way to escape the matrix and find ways out. Um,
Well,
and
here we are.
yeah, here we are,
Truthfully,
escaping the matrix.
some people are foolish.
Yeah, some people, I mean, there's really like, and the corporate life is for a lot of people. Like, don't get me wrong, not everyone is designed to be an entrepreneur. Um,
For sure.
I believe it was Kevin O'Leary who said that, like, that, I don't know, 99% of entrepreneurs fail as soon as they hit the first roadblock. But that's a problem that, we've faced many, many times.
More
Um,
than one roadblock.
yes, we have faced tons and tons of roadblocks, from finding time to being under 18 to
Managing other relationships and
yes,
with family and friends
everything like that. So it's
everything.
all kind of been a
And
mess.
managing school. We both have received
Right,
probably straight A's for as long as we can remember and
right.
still do.
So all
Um,
of it is really, I mean, it's just kind of crazy, I guess you could say, how we've been able to balance. We're kind of like jack of all trades, we've been able to balance everything super well, but this has also kind of limited us because we're not allowed to really excel at anything either.
yeah,
So I guess it just kind of sums up our problems there. Um,
I could read the Bitcoin white paper to you.
oh yeah,
This will only take an hour. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Satoshi Nakamoto, Satoshin at gmx.com. Interesting story. GMX is a highly secure but public, similar to Gmail, email service provider. Interesting that Satoshi Nakamoto used GMX. Something to
Right.
think about. www.bitcoin.org. Abstract. A purely, 5 minutes. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is required to prevent double spending. We propose a solution to the double spending problem using the peer-to-peer network. The network timestamps transactions by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The longest chain not only serves as proof of the sequence of events witnessed, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. As long as a majority of CPU power is controlled by nodes that are not cooperating to attack the network, they'll generate the longest chain and outpace attackers. The network itself requires minimal structure. Messages are broadcast on a best effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. Would you like to take the introduction?
Sure.
Something to do.
Commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weakness of the trust-based model. Completely non-reversible transactions are not really possible since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating disputes. The cost of mediation increases transaction costs, limiting the minimum practical transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small casual transactions. And there is a broader cost in the loss of ability to make non-reversible payments for non-reversible services. With the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads. Merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. A certain percentage of fraud is acceptably unavoidable. These costs and payment inefficiencies can be avoided in person by physical currency, but no mechanism exists to make payments over a communications channel without a trusted party. What is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Basically, what they're doing here is they're cutting out the escrow, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Transactions that are computational. Okay, I'm gonna skip that. Impractical to reverse would protect sellers from this paper or from fraud. And routine escrow mechanisms could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as honest nodes effectively control more CPU power than any cooperating group of attacker nodes. Okay, would you like to
Okay.
take it from here?
Transactions.
So I'm going to put my computer.
Yep, good idea. Yeah. So, let us speak regarding transactions. We define an electronic coin as a chain of digital signatures. Each owner transfers the coin to the next by digitally signing a hash of the previous transaction and the public key of the next owner and adding these to the end of the coin. A payee can verify the signatures to verify the chain of ownership. Here's a little graphic, might be helpful to you. Okay. This is actually quite interesting.
That is quite interesting.
Sign, verify, sign.
Here.
Oh,
All
right.
Yeah, we won't die.
Aha. All right. We just need this 6 times. Each You already read that. Payee can verify the signatures to verify the chain of ownership, blah, blah, blah. I already read that. Okay. The problem, of course, is the payee can't verify that one of the owners did not double spend the coin. A common solution is introduced. A common solution is to introduce a trusted central authority, or mint, that checks every transaction for double spending. After each transaction, the coin must be returned to the mint to issue a new coin, and only coins issued directly from the mint are trusted not to be double spent. The problem with this solution is that the fate of the entire money system depends on the company running the mint, with every transaction having to go through them, just like a bank. Now, we need a way for the payee to know that the previous owners did not sign any earlier transactions. For our purposes, the easiest transaction is one that counts, so we don't care about later attempts to double spend. The only way to confirm the absence of a transaction is to be aware of all transactions. In the mint-based model, the mint was aware of all transactions and decided which arrived first. To accomplish this without a trusted third party, transactions must be publicly announced, and we need a system for participants to agree on a single history of the order in which they were received. The payee needs proof that at the time of each transaction, the majority of nodes agreed it was received first. Interesting.
It's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you guys the graphic in a second. The solution we propose begins with a timestamp server. A timestamp server works by taking a hash of a block of items to be timestamped and widely published the hash, such as in a newspaper or Usenet post. Interesting. The timestamp proves that the data must have existed at the time, obviously, in order to get into the hash. Each timestamp includes the previous timestamp in a hash, forming a chain, with each additional timestamp reinforcing the ones before it. And so here's a little diagram there, just talking about the hashes and everything. Oh, okay, last part. Yeah. Well, that was pretty short, so I guess I'll take proof of work too. To implement, and let's talk about proof of work.
Yes.
To implement a distributed timestamp server on a peer-to-peer basis, you will need to use a proof of work system similar to Adam Back's Hackcache, rather than newspaper or Usenet posts. The proof of work involves scanning for a value when hashed, such as with SHA-256. Obviously, you guys know what that means. I'm assuming after here. The hash begins with a number of 0 bits. The average work is required, or the average work required is exponential in the number of 0 bits required that can be verified by executing a single hash. For our timestamp network, we implement the proof of work by incrementing a nonce in the block until a value is found that gives the block's hash that required to 0 bits. Once the CPU effort has been expended to make it satisfy the proof of work, the block cannot be changed without redoing the work. As later blocks are chained to it, the work to chain the block would include redoing all of the blocks after it. If you guys have ever heard of Bitcoin miners or anything like that, they rely on proof of work to basically change the blocks before it, and by in turn doing this, they can take little like snippets of Bitcoin. And yeah, that's it. The proof of work also solves the problem of determining representation in majority decision making. If the majority were based on a one IP address, one vote, it could be subverted by anyone able to allocate many IPs. Proof of work is essentially one CPU, one vote. The majority decision is represented by the longest chain, which has the greatest proof of work effort invested in it. If a majority of CPU power is controlled by honest nodes, the honest chain will grow the fastest and outpace any competing chains. To modify a past block, an attacker would have to redo the proof of work of the block and all the blocks after it, then catch up with and surpass the work of the honest nodes. We will show later that the probability of a slower attack and catching up diminishes exponentially as subsequent blocks are added. So basically, if the builders are slower or are faster than the attackers have to go back to the very first block and then redo all the work, which effectively provides kind of a shield for the builders. Interesting, very interesting stuff. To compensate for increasing hardware speed and varying interest in running nodes over time, the proof of work difficulty is determined by a moving average targeting an average number of blocks per hour. If they're generated too fast, the difficulty increases. So that basically the problems that the computer will have to solve get harder as the blocks get more, um, as they get decompressed more quickly. Interesting. Sorry. Anyways, you can continue on with network.
Foolish children.
Foolish children, exactly.
Foolish.
What do they know? They don't know anything. They're just going to become slaves. Interesting.
I said, what were they saying?
Interesting. See, this is why we're going to move out of America,
You have no idea.
and we're going to be living somewhere much,
You
much
have
better.
No idea.
And
You guys,
yeah,
if only you could fathom the depth and breadth of our
endeavors.
nuanced.
Yeah, nuanced envisions and
Yeah. What would you call that? Compilation of endeavors, goals, aspirations, dreams, mental state, desires, deep rabbit holes. You couldn't possibly fathom how deep that well of ours truly goes.
yeah, exactly. We have put in so much suffering, so much time, so many sleepless nights dedicated to this pursuit,
Countless hours filled by lamentations.
and
The burden of existence.
here we are talking to you about it.
But anyway,
So
no, we're doing good. We've got
we're doing
goals.
great. Yeah, we're doing great. It's just a lot. Yeah,
It's just a lot. It's
this path is not
challenging
easy.
to manage. It's a complicated road.
Yeah,
It's nuanced, and we are
but if it was easy, everyone would do it. So
we are immensely lucky individuals, and I'm infinitely grateful for what I have in my life. And
exactly,
I cannot wish for anything better. I literally am set. But
and so am I. It's
with the type of person we are comes it's not easy.
it's not easy, and not only is it not easy, it's harder starting from something with value than
Yes.
going all the way from 0 to 100, I guess you could say. Because if you start at 99 and then you go to 100, the climb is just as hard as going from 0 to 100, but you only feel
Blessed.
1 degree of difference. Meanwhile, if you're going from 0 to 100, you get the full spectrum, the full ride. A friend of ours once said that you don't feel going 200 miles per hour in a Bugatti, you feel the acceleration. And if you're already starting at 190 miles per hour, you only feel 10 miles of acceleration. It doesn't really make a whole lot of
Feel
sense.
less. Yes.
So these are our aims. These are
And
our
again, starting at 190s, we're more grateful than anyone.
Right.
We've not figured for anything.
right.
But it simply comes with different challenges and
Yeah, different challenges.
nuances and
Endeavors.
pressures that are not quite as simple as one might imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you might think, but
Regardless, proof of work.
I already read that.
Okay. Network. The steps to run the network are as follows.
Take off my watch.
Nice. Good idea. New transactions are broadcast to all nodes. 2. Each node collects new transactions into a block. 3. Each node works on finding a difficult proof of work for its block. 4. When a node finds proof of work, it broadcasts the block to all nodes. 5. Nodes accept the blocks only if all transactions in it are valid and are not already spent. 6. Nodes express their acceptance of the block by working on creating the next block in the chain using the hash of the accepted block as the previous hash. Nodes always consider the longest chain to be the correct one and will keep working on extending it. If 2 nodes broadcast different versions of the next block simultaneously, some nodes may receive the other one or the other first. In that case, they will work on the first one they received, but save the other branch in case it becomes longer. The tower will be broken for the next proof of work when the next proof of work is found, and one branch becomes longer. The nodes that were working on the other branch will switch to the longer one. Who would have thunk? New transaction broadcasts do not necessarily need to reach all nodes. As long as they reach many nodes, it will get into a block before long. Block broadcasts are also tolerant of dropped messages. If a node does not receive a block, it will request it when it receives the next block and realizes it is missing a block.
You know David Dobrik is something in the Aston Martin?
Yeah, the SUV.
Yeah, think about that. I mean, I'm not saying anything against David Dobrik. Like, very interesting guy.
Funny dude. He's
Yeah.
interesting. He's from Slovakia.
Right, interesting dude. Right, exactly. But you're telling me this guy can provide.
Then again, he does provide value. Think
He
about
provides value, but not in the way that you typically
the size
expect.
of his audience.
I mean,
how many literally millions of young people across the world are like, oh my gosh, I love watching Nick Noble videos.
yeah, exactly. So he provides value. It's all about providing value, you know.
And value is interesting. That's actually a good one.
Yeah. I mean, there's virtually no reason why you cannot make it in this society. If you can't make it, it's one of three things: you're either arrogant, you're lazy, or you're stupid. Very few people are the last one, right? Most people are either arrogant or lazy because they're arrogant because they won't listen to people who have more. And if someone who's like a multi millionaire has all this, power and influence, and you're gonna like try and, debunk everything that person says, it's like J. Cole said, if you're broke and clowning a millionaire, the joke is on you. And I forget what song that's from.
Yeah.
But it's like you're either arrogant, you're lazy, you don't want to. If you're lazy, it means you just don't have the fire. It can't be. It has to be everything you think about. Like there's no like middle ground. You can't like, oh well, maybe it'll happen. Maybe one day I'll get lucky. Maybe it'll happen to me by accident. I mean, no one ever got rich by accident. You know anyone who got rich by accident? No one got rich by accident. I mean, there's no, it doesn't happen like that. You have to be,
It's also interesting that we have to balance many elements of our lives
right.
beyond. It's weird though, because this is what occupies
Every waking thought.
every waking thought. This is the only thing that matters. And yet, no, it's not the only thing that matters.
But, I mean,
But it's also, we need it beyond measure, and yet it's the one thing that we're actually significantly struggling with.
right. And which is ironic because, I mean, it's not like our work ethic is unparalleled, I would say.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think, I think over the past, 3 months or so, the most amount of sleep I've gotten would be probably hovering around 6 hours like that's like the most I've gotten. I've gotten 3 hours of sleep per night, and that's nights I've had tests the next day.
Which we struggle with this
Right.
because school we put this much effort into.
And we have all A's.
Very well, and most people wish that they do anything that they're grades we have. We don't care.
Yeah, we could care less.
And yet, no, we excel. Same thing with actually girls.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
it's funny, we both used to be extremely focus a lot of energy and time on that. Think it was
so
it is
important.
immensely important. However,
Right.
we
It
used
is
to
important if you find the quality.
we used to let it almost control us to a degree. I don't know. We have significantly less. It doesn't control us like it used to, and yet we're in such a better position in that
Yeah.
middle of our lives.
I mean, as soon as we stop caring as much about
Then-
how hard we worked or how good we looked or anything like that, it was like
All of a sudden,
that, and
boom,
then
they were there.
yeah, it's just interesting how that
So
works.
it's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
So-
But money can't be the same thing because it's not like if you're doing nothing, if you're just sitting on a bench in a park somewhere, there's a possibility you're putting yourself in the right place at the right time.
Now,
There's
here's
a
a thought.
possibility. Go ahead.
Here's a thought. What if we? I think if we would have just completely stopped caring about girls and not done anything else with our lives, nothing would have changed. But
Right.
when we stopped caring about them, we started focusing on making money and going to the gym and making ourselves better people. And
Hmm.
maybe that's why that is why
That is why
girls
we,
stay.
yeah.
And sounds weird. And
But
sorry.
it's good.
And what if money is the same way in terms of if we stop letting it control us, but instead we focus on things that make money come to us? Because I think that's what happened to girls. Like we were chasing girls, and then we started chasing other
The,
things that make us better people. We started building ourselves as men, and then that's when girls were like, "Oh, nice."
yeah, which is interesting.
Is money the same way?
I mean, that's a very interesting point because
You know what I'm saying?
it's tough because there are, I mean, you could work on your skills for money as much as you want. You know, you could be the best, you could have the best product out there. You know, this product solves everyone's problems, everything. But if you just have that product and you don't know how to market it, I mean, there's no. So I think really there's, I mean, that's true to a point, but do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what you're
think I don't.
but then it's the same thing,
But no,
honestly,
well,
with
honestly, with women,
women.
we had the product. We created ourselves to be the perfect product. You know, we went to the gym. We started focusing on money. We made ourselves financially stable. We did all this stuff, and then we marketed ourselves just a little bit, and we were able to find success. Do you think you marketed yourself?
I think that just interactions with women have just become astronomically. I think that when they talk to me or you, there's so much more interest because of what we've done. I don't think I went out of my way to say, "Hey, look at me, I've got all this stuff." But I think it was like I meet someone somewhere, we start chatting. "Hey, what do you do in your free time?" "Oh, well, I actually have this, I have this." Just simply being honest and speaking about my life provides an insight into the impressive things that we do,
Right,
right?
but how do you do that with money? I guess. How do
How do
you
you
how do
what?
you simply like? Do you know what I'm saying? Because like with
How do you
women,
make money?
you kind of you kind of marketed your product a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, you didn't go out and reach out to the girl, but you marketed your product.
yeah. And
Well,
she
this is
wouldn't
what
have
I do. This is what
she wouldn't have
this is.
bought
I go to
a
the gym.
right.
I go to the, you know, I work like 18 hours a day. You know, I'm successful financially. Blah 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 blah. You marketed your product just a little bit, and they were able to see how good of a product it
Yes.
was, and so they bought in, right?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
So how do we do that with money? How do we
How do we put ourselves in a position?
well, we have people who are interested in us because of our
Hack the damn Discord. Those people thought us.
yeah. I mean, once again, as you will get to learn us more and more. I mean, we have tried dang near everything. I want to say from
I don't think there's
I
a
mean,
business model we haven't considered, and I think that there's probably 2% of business models we haven't tried.
right, and those ones
At least that's what it
involve
feels like.
drug dealing, which we haven't tried or considered for the most part. um,
Yeah.
but like we started off with a yeah, we do have financial needs, but I mean, once again, it's just like we started off with Modern Dough, which is a newsletter. Then we moved to YouTube content creation. Then we kind of did. I had an idea for an app, so I learned how to code in Swift, and I was kind of, I mean, it was kind of just jumping all over the place.
Oh,
The
hang on.
app,
I have a phone call real quick. Sorry.
oh, just got a phone
Yep.
call.
What is it? Oh no. Sorry, me and Jack are recording YouTube video right now. Can you can you oh you know talk to you.
Hello?
It's alright.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Why are you bothering me with this? Go away.
Do you mean let me
Okay.
I need to take care of this. Yep. Do I have 20,000? Obviously I have 20. What do you need it for? I'll send you 3.2 mil tomorrow morning. Sorry about that, guys.
It happens. But I mean, like we're saying, maybe if we just looked at money as more of like a joke and like we just kind of like
Then it would start.
you know we built our copywriting skills and our you know
Well, you know what's interesting actually? This summer, I made more money doing mowing lawns than anything. I didn't care. I just went out there and mowed lawns, didn't even think about it. And I made like 800, $900.
right.
I didn't even think about
Like think about that. I mean, I was like, same thing with my job. I wasn't even like, oh my gosh, I want to make the most money I can. I was
It
honestly,
just
when I was there, it
was
just
one
kind of,
there and that happened.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's different if you have an employee, that makes sense, right? But if you're working as self-employed as an entrepreneur, it doesn't work like that. I think that's the one area where it doesn't really work like that. Because if you have a job with an employee, you don't even really have to be focusing on the money. Like no one's gonna like give you a raise because you're so like focused on money, unless you work in like a hedge fund or something like that. You know, if you work at like let's just say for example Sonic, you're working for that like site lead, you know, like manager position, whatever. You wouldn't get there by trying to raise the price of the burgers. You would get there by making the best burgers you could, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's in an employee setting. If you look at it from self-employed, where no one's giving you anything for how much work you put in, which is what's happened to us. If you look at it from that angle, I
One interesting thing
I don't know if that's.
I happened to hold on.
Sorry, we're just looking through an old notebook.
Niches.
Ah,
It's just one.
interesting.
Tough guy.
Yeah, we've done a lot of things.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Zeitgeist. Oh my gosh. There's actually
Transactional are baking.
like
See, this is here. Do you mind if I show this really quick? Yes. So this is the system, the model. I think it's probably gonna be backwards for you guys, right? Anyways, okay. So this is your deposit is up here. Um, yeah, deposit. So say if a deposit is $1 million, then they have to keep like let's read through this. So there's $1 billion is required as
if you have a $10 billion deposit,
right.
10% has to go to the required reserve to meet the standards that has to stay in the bank. Then $9 billion is considered an excess reserve, which can be used as the basis for new loans. However, they don't loan out the $9 billion that was deposited. They create a new $9 billion on top of the original $10 billion deposit because of the loan demand and money to satisfy the reserve requirements. And so now they have 19 billion from your $10 billion deposit. What? Yes, that is how money is created. So now 9 billion is given out as loans. 900 million goes to the reserve requirement. 8.1 million, or 8.1 billion, sorry, goes to the excess reserve, and then a new 8.1 million, and then or billion, and then it keeps going down. On average, it's a 9x. So when you deposit money in the bank, 9 times that money is created and loaned out, which is how money just
Out of
so
thin air. Out of thin
$10
air.
billion deposit, if the government takes treasury bonds, for example, creates 90 billion on average.
Right. So if the government deposits, let's say the government is like, hey, Federal Reserve. But the Federal Reserve is an independent regulator or an independent institution. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that or not. But let's say the government is like, hey, Federal Reserve. Yes, it's a private agency. Hey, Federal Reserve, we need $10 billion. Federal Reserve's like, sure, just give us some loans, telling us an IOU, and they send that money that way, and the Federal Reserve prints out a bunch of money and sends it to the government. And then basically what the government sends that into private banks, and for every if 10 billion was deposited into a bank, it would mean that 90 billion, or yeah, 90 billion would be what is created out of thin air just by it existing. So I mean, it's crazy. That's how inflation is able to just skyrocket. Yes, I have heard of the World Economic Forum. Have you heard of BlackRock?
Oh,
Yeah, interesting stuff.
we can't. I don't even know if we should touch this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, it's
It's
deep. If you want to do your own research, please do your own research. Look into BlackRock, whatever you want.
World Economic Forum, fractional reserve banking.
Right.
Things of that nature.
It's all a scam.
This is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, interesting. So Kerry just pointed to a quote here in his notebook that he wrote that says, "Stop trying to extract, serve/give." And I guess that's kind of what we're saying is provide as much free value as you can to people. Um,
It's provide value. This is something. that an individual was talking about reminds me of Alex Hormozy. And he just basically said when it flipped for him was that when he stopped trying to extract and he started trying to actually serve and give people. When you're just trying to extract money and make money, it's different than when you're like, how can I provide these people with the best possible service that changes their life in an amazing way? Which is interesting. And
Right,
this is
and
what
then they'll fairly comfortable.
this is what he said. It's cruising.
Okay, so we don't have the first one of that. Anyways, so basically, is this from Hermosi?
No, this is from a guy who reminds me of Hormozy.
Okay, so a guy who reminds Carrie here of Hermosi. Alex Hermosi is a great guy, by the way.
You should read his book.
Yes, we have it right there.
If you want to become the best person in the world at sales,
$100 million
and he's
authors.
coming up with a new book, $100 million leads, those two books will get you to infinite money.
Right, supposedly.
I mean, yeah. Well, we also just haven't even applied.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But anyway.
That's really true. So basically, the first thing a guy that reminds Carrier from Ozzy is you need a good product for this for 10K a month, which is what you need to escape the matrix, basically. So you need a good product that you believe in, a group of people that want your products, a process to launch it to them, and a good process for maintaining sales and creating recurring buys. Um, so it says to pick a target audience, find something annoying to them, and fix it. And then Carrie has Carrie has a
So sad.
flow like gap there. Um,
So sad.
basically, basically, we Carrie got inspired by someone, and the someone asked him to find a list of niches that were having problems, and
This is what I have to
Carrie
He said make a list of what you have offer what you can provide people. And my list, well, it's a little bit sad.
yeah. But
Sad.
see, this is our problem, Carrie. This is our problem. We're trying to no, buy our stuff, buy our stuff.
What stuff?
We don't have anything to offer. Anyways,
That's why YouTube's different.
yeah.
Because we're providing value. No, we're not. Who in the world would watch this?
There's people out there. Convince me that there's people out there.
You know what? I'm gonna make a prediction. This video is gonna get 4,000 views. And every
4,000 views.
Every person's gonna watch it about an hour on average. That's my guess.
That's your guess? I think it'll be a little bit more than that. I think honestly people
Honestly,
are
I could see it.
yeah. Because I mean we are providing value. We're talking about everything that has led us. I guess the main point of all of our trials and tribulations is to I would say never give up, but I mean I'm not even worried about giving up anymore. Because like this is so ingrained in us we can't even give up. No matter how many times we fail, and we fail a lot. And if you it's the condition we're suffering from is called shiny object syndrome.
I had an entire. This is all from copyright. Still phase analysis. Look how hard I worked on this. This is all working on that.
Carrie's flipping through pages and pages of notes.
Literally ended there. Look at
What was
this.
that,
This
like-
is all. This is all
Maybe like 20 pages of notes on
notes
copy.
on one thing that I could have.
So our problem is we suffer from shiny object syndrome. As I was saying, and Carrie just highlighted this beautifully. We'll work really hard at something. There's no end of meaning to our work ethic. Like our work ethic will always keep going no matter what. But our work ethic, it gets to this point and it just keeps going, going, going. And then we get to the point we call it like the cliff or something, kind of like that. And you have a wingsuit on and you're jumping, you have to jump off the cliff. And we did all the work to get to the top of the mountain. And then we look down and we're like, yeah, but if this doesn't work, we've put in all the work, And if this doesn't work, that's a reflection on ourselves. If this fails, that means we failed. That means we're failures. So we kind of have this, and then we get to the top of the mountain with something. We'll put in all the work. The work is not the problem. We've put in so much work. We put in all the work, and then the problem is that we'll get to the top. We'll look over the edge. And we'll be like, oh, I don't want to take the risk of falling and possibly being a failure. So we go and we're like, oh, look at that mountain over there. That one looks a little bit easier to climb. A little bit.
Climb down,
Yes.
walk across the road, take the bus, get out, start climbing the mountain.
Yes.
We were at the top. We were at the summit.
Right. Exactly. And that's happened to us in virtually every single monetary.
Again.
So that's something to be warned of.
Moses' value equation, really good. You have to try and get the top as high as you want the bottom. That times that over that times that. Dream outcome times.
So this is Alex Mosey. He has a value equation called. It's just called a value equation, and basically it says that value equals your dream outcome multiplied by the perceived likelihood of achievement over time delay times effort and sacrifice. And we want to get the top as big as possible. So you want to get the dream outcome and the perceived likelihood of achievement, and then the time delay and effort and sacrifice as low as possible. That's how you provide value to people. And basically,
Heard something from Moses said also. It was such a good close. So this would work for agency or anything. One of the best sales closes, especially if it's a service or program. So let's say you run Google Ads and you're talking to an e-commerce company and they're not sure, they're still on the edge. One of the best closes, Hormozy's a genius, is basically if you say, okay, well, imagine that this program is a perfect magical unicorn riding across a rainbow and it can accomplish every possible goal you have, would you buy it? And of course, that they would normally, most of the time, they would say yes, in which case, then you can confront, well, then what's the difference between that magical unicorn and our current program? And you can find what you're lacking that you can provide them and then get them to buy. And if they say no, then it's something different and they're not sure if they need the solution that you're providing.
or they just can't afford it.
Or they can't afford it. But basically, I mean, a lot of times, like if you're a company and someone comes to you with an offer and they say, hey, let's say you're an e-commerce company trying to sell and someone wants to run TikTok ads for you and they'll say, hey, we can maximize this, we'll get your ROI so much higher, we'll make you so much more money than you spend with us. Imagine this was literally picture perfect. I could promise you this is a magical unicorn on a rainbow that will solve all your problems. Would you buy it? You're probably going to say yes. So then why haven't you bought it? Because you think that there's a discrepancy between their program and this perfect magical unicorn. So you can kind of attack that and discover what they truly need in your program. Really smart close.
Yeah, that is actually really smart close. See, like we have the information. We have we can talk about this stuff all day. Our problem is we I guess we're just afraid of failing, which is the stupidest fear to have because you learn the most from failure.
Yeah.
And we're learning a lot from
In our fear of failure, I think we've
fail
failed more
more.
in a less useful way
Yeah, exactly.
than if
We've
we
climbed, we got to the top, like one or two steps from the top of the mountain.
were like,
We've looked and we're like, hey, we don't really want that. Yeah, so we go all the way back down. Going all the way back down without even reaching the top, that's way more demoralizing than trying to reach the top and then you end
we're
up,
not making. We can make the hike.
right, oh,
We
100%.
can make that hike.
Like I say this, I don't say this lightly, our work ethic is unparalleled.
We are extremely fit in the mountain analogy. We can make the hike.
Right.
We have the gear. We have more than enough gear. We have everything we need. We're in insanely good shape. We've practiced. We know we can make the hike. But for some reason, 3 steps from the top, we stop.
Right. Which is probably makes no sense. And it doesn't really make sense to us either because we've realized it's like we're going insane. Like we've realized, oh, this is what's happening to
Because
us.
we want this outcome more than anything. And yet we're stopping ourselves. Are we? Are we though? Yeah, kinda. It might literally just be shiny object syndrome.
You think it's really just like, oh, that mountain's higher, it's got a bigger
It might literally be shiny. Yeah. It might literally just be shiny object syndrome.
Okay, so well, right now. We've settled on a yes, we have.
I know.
Um,
Econ we're gonna do.
right, so we've agreed on econ.
We're gonna run organic TikTok pages until we get
A freaking customer. Someone,
Literally, we need one sale
and just a proof of concept.
just for point, and then YouTube. We're making videos.
Right. And so,
Instagram. We might
yeah,
start some
so
theme pages.
Instagram, not only theme pages, but also,
We're gonna agency.
yeah, so basically what we're going to do for, because we're going to grow Instagram accounts. So
Mhm.
basically what we do is we're going to reach out to like clients or potential clients, Instagram pages, and be
And
like,
need our help.
that only have like they have like a decent product and everything, they have a good market,
Or it can also be influencers,
right, or
e-commerce
whatever it
brands,
is, yeah.
theme pages, anything.
And we're like, hey, like we get that you are trying to grow your audience. We could do that for you. It's going to cost $800 a month. If you set a goal and we don't get there, then basically you don't have to pay us. And that in turn, I mean, if we provide a guarantee of say, hey, like if you don't get this to your goal, then you don't have to pay us. Basically, what that does is it tells the person that the only possible outcome is good. Either you grow your page and it doesn't reach the goals. So if you grow your page by, say you wanted to get to 1,000 followers in a month. Let's say you grow your page to 950 followers and we're just shy. Not only do you not have to pay us, but you still get an additional
Yeah.
$950 from the
And you think
service.
about how much you gain, right? So like we're not gonna accomplish nothing for you, but because of our guarantee policy, either you hit your goal or you don't pay us a penny. So
Right.
literally the worst possible case scenario, you learn a ton about Instagram growth, you grow a ton on Instagram, you just don't reach your specific number goal, you don't pay us a penny, and we help you.
Right. Exactly. So you get free growth. And then,
And that causes the dream outcome, which is their exact defined
right.
goal that they choose, perceived likelihood of achievement is extremely high because of our guarantee.
Right.
Time, delay, effort, and sacrifice.
We have yet to discover
Yeah,
that.
I guess we're still optimizing this.
Yes. And we also haven't reached out to anyone with this thing yet. And we need to figure out how to get a pricing page and all this stuff.
And we need to set up our Instagram account, make it all free.
Right. Exactly. And so basically, it's just creating content on
The
Instagram.
camera's on my chair, by the way.
Do you want to go shoot some?
Please see if the library's open tonight.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, we're just gonna go crazy on that. And we've realized our problem now. So I guess if any of you guys are still watching this, and I pray that you are, because I think there's a lot of good value in this, and we've failed a lot, so we obviously know a lot. Um, but if any of you guys are still watching this, the main thing is recognizing the problem. So learning how to fail. Recognize the problems that you have from failing. Like for example, ours is shiny object syndrome. We see a better opportunity and we go beeline after that. So we've recognized that, and now we're going to move to change it. We'll let you guys know how that change goes. Um, because if we could get it to like, if we could get it to, I mean, if we could just, I mean, put our heads down at work, get to the top, and then not be distracted by any other shiny objects, I think that's going to be. I mean, now that we know at least to recognize that, that's what you guys have to do. Is you have to be able to recognize your problems. And you may think, "Oh, I'm perfect. I don't have any problems." You will find problems. You will find problems. We thought so too, and we thought that our first idea, Modern No, would be like the thing that would take us to the top. And we were like, "Yes, we have all the information we need." Basically, we found out that we don't know anything about the financial world because we don't have any
And
financial experience.
that's what Justin Waller, his best advice that he tells, especially young people, is just shoot the gun.
Right.
Because he says he's like, I can almost guarantee you that your first shot you're not going to hit the target, and so trying to aim it up perfectly when you've never shot a damn gun before is just a complete waste of time. And so
Right. And then you get
shoot
worried
in the
that
general
you.
right direction. Then going, oh, okay, so that's what it feels like. It has this amount of kick. The target's over there. The wind carries this much. Okay, I'm gonna try again. Boom, 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 and then eventually, but you just have to shoot the gun. And so that's what sometimes I think we spend too much time. We
Worrying
wasted a
about
lot of time
it.
about optimizing things that don't even matter, like setting up a website, coming up with a name, all this logo stuff like that. When you
When it doesn't matter because if we can't get customers to thing in the first place, if we don't even shoot the gun, spend all this time aiming, and we don't even pull the trigger because we're like, oh wait, there's a better target over here.
don't,
Aiming. We don't hit it. Of course not. But this time it's gonna be different. And if it's not, then this video will serve as an accountability source, basically to make sure that we do hit it. So yeah, basically that's it. I mean, cash it. We have plenty of it. We're gonna have plenty of it. It's just simply avoiding the temptation to make it. Like,
The
oh, this could be
nuanced depth of our endeavors are difficult to
right,
formulate into concrete thoughts.
right. As a great man once said, my unmatched perspicacity, coupled with sheer indefatigability, makes me afraid of opponent in any realm of human endeavor.
I wonder who's said that.
Oh,
Hmm. Interesting. Probably a pretty smart guy.
yeah, a very smart guy. I bet his son's pretty smart too. Hmm. It's just well, I mean, honestly, I think that all that's left to do, if you've watched this video and got this far, um, all that's left to do is just simply apply these values. And I know we are jumping around from Bitcoin to our past experiences and all that. Basically, just learn how to create, learn how to provide value. That's all Bitcoin did. Learn how to create, learn how to provide value, get it to your audience, and then the money will come. The money will come. We just have to learn how to not focus on it. Because that's what we're doing is we're trying to squeeze our non-existent audience and wring it out. That looked really wrong, but to wring our existing audience, which we don't have, and try and get the most out of it that we have. But I mean, honestly, that's not going to
I
happen.
think instead of wringing, we need to wring ourselves out for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they'll wring right
We're gonna stop with that analogy right there.
Um,
YouTube, don't take this video down,
Take, for
please.
example, this is a live straw. This allows you to drink moldy, gross, dirty pond water. Provides value.
Right, it provides value. The people of that were like, oh,
I don't know.
I wonder how we can make the most money from this. I'm sure they thought about that as an additional point, but I know for a fact that LifeStraw has donated so many life straws to underdeveloped communities and things like that that need access to clean water and need access to all this stuff. And they would none of that had any monetary value. I mean, sure, it might have been good for like from like a marketing perspective, but it's not like they were like doing that to like get some like government contract from the company or anything from the country or anything like that. They were just trying to provide value. That's all we have to do is provide as much value as possible for basically little cost, and that's how we're going to get customers. But we have to provide value first. That's interesting. Um, Another guy, Eamon Gotzi, he does social media marketing um, agency. Sorry, I just had a space there. And social media marketing agency. And basically, what his idea was is that he would provide, like, one of his ideas was that to provide clients with like potential clients that he was reaching out to um, with a free ad page on how he could help their business. And that's just interesting because I mean it was free value. Like he had no like obligation to do that. He simply just did it because it was something that he wanted to do to provide value, and in turn that probably generated. Oh wait, I can make. I mean, all the companies who got that were thinking, oh wait, I can make this much more money from this. Um, I mean, it's really just providing value. I think that's all it is, and we're completely overthinking that. We're trying to like muscle our way through making money.
Yeah, we are. We're trying to brute force it. We're trying to brute force extract, and we need to.
Right, from like we're trying to get like water from a rock that is like dry without providing. I mean, we're not giving the
It's like if you've seen Harry Potter, right?
of course, yeah.
It's like those. I can't remember the name of them, but it's like those plants that the more you struggle, the tighter they get on you. Remember?
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes,
When they're falling to snitch, or it was, I think the first one maybe when they were going to the test game.
yeah,
And they fell into those plants and they started choking them.
right.
And
Because
they kept struggling. The more they struggled, the tighter it would get, and the harder it would be to escape. But then once they just, it's like we're trying to brute force extract, and
yeah,
that's causing it to grip tighter and tighter, make it harder and harder. But if we just
right. We just let it happen and provided value, things are gonna come our way. Maybe that's the thing.
that's it.
Maybe that's it. I mean, that's how it was with women, right? Like
Yeah.
we just provided value to them.
We're out of it.
Yeah. We provide value to money, or provide value to people who give us money. Um, and yeah, I mean, basically that. but that's kind of it. Um, but interesting. Yeah. And then we're still in high school. We still have to deal with high school concerns. Everything is
Yes.
just a giant mess right now because we're trying to juggle like 12 different things and none of them are working. It's like butter struggle for too much bread.
Yeah. We are the butter.
If you need to see a psychologist, please do. Don't follow our example and try and work it out through making money.
You guys know any psychologists?
No, we're never going to therapy.
No, we don't. So.
Or
Oh, that's a bad thing to say.
Uh, yeah, we're too strong. We don't need therapy. Therapy is
Haven't you read that if you like do this pose for 2 minutes every day, it increases your testosterone?
Oh, I've read that if you do this pose, that pose here, I'm gonna demonstrate for you guys. This pose,
Yeah, I heard Superman pose. Yeah.
if you do that pose for like 2 minutes a day, when you wake up, it increases your testosterone. But should I try it? Everyone who's still watching.
Yes, do this pose with us.
Yeah.
Or I'll try this one. I'll tell you the
Okay. Yeah, maybe we should like fight after this.
Do I have any biceps left?
That's the other thing. We've been like everything has just been disintegrated because we've been.
No, either my lats.
Dude, your lats are huge, getting bulky. And then, yeah, basically, um, provide value. Learn how to provide value. Learn skills that you're good. Oh,
Sorry.
learn skills that you're good at. And money will come. I guess that's what we're learning from this. Yeah, no. Well, I mean, we are giving advice because we failed at this many, many times. And I mean, if you suffer
We know
from
what it takes and we know what it doesn't take.
right,
I think we know it works, and I think that, but we're just. Is it? I think it literally might just be setting up.
yeah, I think so too. Because I mean, we jumped around from different things, and we're like, "This is it. This is what's gonna make us 10K a month," you know?
And then we're like, oh, this one's better. It's more scalable. It's better this way, this way, this way. And then, oh, this way.
Any ways that we could have tried. If we kept doing modern dough and researched actual information, we probably could be so far right now because our work ethic is unmatchable. You know?
Said he's never seen someone put their head down, pick a business, work their ass up for 36 months, and not see them make 10K a month.
Yeah.
He's never seen someone fail.
Exactly. Exactly. That's 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Alex Hormozy says, you cannot fail if you do not stop.
Yeah.
See, our problem is we keep
Not completely stopping, but stopping what we're doing.
right, exactly. And that's why we keep failing.
Yeah.
It's just because we're just like, oh wait, no, this is way,
We
way
convince
better.
ourselves we're just
Yeah, exactly. So we're hidden, evil word. Um, but yeah, read books, gain information, gain knowledge, learn how to provide value. That's the biggest thing you can learn from this. Learn how to provide
write down
value.
your assets, see what you have to offer, think
Right.
about how you can help people.
Right. And then once you get to a point where you know you can help people, provide value and help provide value to those people,
And
solve a problem for them.
don't be afraid to charge for your services, you know?
Right. Exactly. And read $100 million offers.
Oh, that book.
Read, but you also have to be able. I mean, Alex Hormozy also says that reading too much, excessive reading is like mental masturbation, because basically what it does is it trains your brain to always think and never act. So if you read 50 books on marketing and you're like, yes, I have a brilliant idea, it's much better to have read 2 books on marketing and like exercise those principles religiously than try and go through and work around and oh well, if I just read these books and I'll get successful. I mean, it doesn't work like that. You have to also provide the value. You have to just go out to the real world and take it. The best teacher is failure, and I think that's what we're learning. And we've learned a lot. We have learned so much because we've failed so much.
And we've built up here. Say for our age, it's hard to formulate.
I mean, but there's kids our age who are also doing extremely better
There are
than
kids
us.
our age who are
But
making
if you-
more money than us, who are simpler than us, who are not the men.
Right. But if you just compare everyone by those standards, you could put. I mean, there's so many people who you could like.
Doors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no money is not an industrial ruler.
No. I mean, think about the guy who invented the theorem,
Yeah,
Vitaly. Nothing against him,
yeah, nothing against the guy at
but
all.
he's extremely little learned, and he's really smart. He's super smart, and
Right,
he's
but
good at
if you
one
look at a
thing.
picture of them, you're not intimidated.
Yeah.
It's all about developing a complete package. All right, cool. Well,
Thank you so much for watching
thank you
this
so much for your time. If you're still with us, I think you should probably see a psychologist.
video. I sure hope nobody watches.
Um, and
Maybe this
then
thing put on 2 speed.
I would like to,
Thank you.
yes, just thank you guys so much.
You'll be seeing this very shortly.
Yeah, on the cover of
That
Forbes.
is, it's on the cover.
Right, exactly. Anyways, adios, ciao, nos
Gracias.
vemos. See you guys very soon.